In general, my work is a lot about space and spatial questions and how they affect our body and psychological system. So we're now in a museum that has a lot of different rooms and spaces, very different spaces. Some of them feel very homely, and others, like this hall, is sort of the perfect white cube on a very impressive size. And I decided to show, as a theme that runs through the whole exhibition, a new body of work, which is entitled Biodiversity. And this is one part of it. And you can see that these are sculptures that are made of 3 different elements. A very introvert one, a very aggressive extrovert one, and one that cannot really stand on its own. And they're combined in different ways. And they create, like that, different creatures or figurations that create always a different sort of relationship to the spectator. And they are in this scale, they become some sort of houses, like some containers. They might have an interior life. That's why they have some sort of windows, mirrors, where you reflect yourself, you see yourself, or you might imagine an interior life. And so there comes up this whole question of our body. What is it? Is it a compact volume, or is it something that has an interior life? And are our eyes like those mirrors, something sort of reflecting the exterior world, but also a view into our soul or something like that? So I'm interested in this question of our bodies within space, and of course then comes this question of society, of a collective space. And I think in sort of contemporary world, different things come together in new ways, so they create new forms and new beings. Here maybe the 3 beings, you might see within them a plant, some sort of flower with leaves and the flower. You might see on the right hand side like a bird with a beak and with wings, sort of balancing. And in the back you might see a human with a head and the feet. So you have the 3 forms of living that we sort of defined in the world: plants and animals and human beings. And they're all built of the same things. They're all made of molecules. And the different way of putting things together creates different creatures. And I'm very interested in that. And throughout the whole show, you see these elements in different forms, in different materials, in different scales, in different sort of situations of how they displayed, so different displays. And each time they make something else. In one room you see them made of massive wood blocks. In another room you see them as ceramics, very fragile, small, model-like objects. And then you also see them in photographs and in drawings. So also in the picture, in the 2-dimensional space, creating spatial things, rooms, architectural moments, and again, like anthropomorphic bodies. So this runs through the whole show. In each room, they reappear, and in one room they even reappear in form of a font, as a writings, creating words. So therefore you have these different elements. You have objects, you have images, and you have text, narration, and also narration going through the whole show, but having a narration that links it. And there's one work in the exhibition which is called, in English, Rock, Paper, Scissors. In German it's called Schere, Stein, Papier. It's the game where you have the fist representing the stone, and the scissors, the Schere, and the paper for the paper. And it's a game where one wins. And in this work you see the paper as an object, the scissors as a text definition, and the stone as an image of the stone. So it's again 3 forms of how things exist in the world: as an image, as the real object you can touch, and as the textual sort of memory way of being of things. And the whole exhibition runs in between those things, picture, narration and object. And these are themes that interest me a lot, because the two-dimensional is a human invention. It doesn't really exist in the real world. And the two-dimensional is also the base for the drawing. You're drawing on the surface, and therefore in this exhibition for the first time I'm showing my drawing books. Since I'm a child, I'm drawing and filling books with drawings, and here I'm showing just a little extract of those books. And this drawing being on the two-dimensional surface is for me so interesting, because it's in between thinking and object. So it's on a surface that is a surface, but already it's paper, so it's nearly materialized thoughts, somewhere in between. And the weird thing is that this two-dimensional thinking is such a powerful tool to think about the real world, or even to manipulate it. So with the two-dimensional drawing, you got into making plans, making maps, and somehow ending up in the flat screen. So this two-dimensionality has a huge impact on intellectual development. And therefore is a weird tool of, on the one hand, thinking about the real world, but also planning the real world. And therefore the question of the model also runs through the show, because a model can be, on the one hand, like explanation of the real world, a simplified explanation, an Anschauungsobjekt that you can understand. And the model can also be something that plans something or projects something that doesn't exist yet, that is going to be created. And also those two things interest me a lot. On the one hand, the observation and the understanding, and on the other hand, the planning and projecting something that has not been there yet. And I think we are in a moment within development of society that is very quick in terms of how things change, and I think it will create new forms that have not been there before, that we at the moment maybe don't even know yet what they will be. So I think that's sort of in a quick run through some of thoughts I had whilst planning this show.